I have been going through some AI tips and tricks, things that I utilize in my work from Adobe Photoshop 2024 on my Instagram channel, and you can find them all in the highlights, these ones included, but I figured I would branch out, have not used this channel in a very long time, and post them here. I am going to be posting quite a few more editing tips and tricks, things that I do, things that work for me, speed up my workflow here. So if you like what you see, follow along. I'm going to be doing this image. I'm going to be doing this image, and I'm going to be doing this one, which is probably the most interesting. So I'll save the best for last. For this one, whenever I have kiddos up in this chair, I have mom or dad, whoever has brought them, stand right next to them. So obviously, as soon as he reached forward, she reached to grab him. I was continuously shooting, so I was able to grab this image. That eye contact is perfect, but her arm is in there, but there was no way I was throwing this out. Before AI was a thing, I would have had to painstakingly clone all of this out, but Photoshop gave us the gift of AI, and I am going to use it. So first thing I do is select my lasso tool, and I want to select around her arm and her hand, but not just her arm and her hand. If I selected just her arm and her hand, AI would probably just give me a different arm, and that's not what I want. So I make sure that I'm selecting about an inch around the area so that it kind of picks up on the fact that I want it to get rid of the hand and just give me the background. AI is not always intelligent, but let's see how this goes. I'm going to give it no prompt in the generative fill box. I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to click generate. Sometimes when you give it a prompt, it does the exact opposite of what you've asked it to do. Oh, well, a melting chair is all right, but let's see what else we can get. There we go. Third option is better. If you're not happy with the three options it gives you, you can just click in the add a prompt box and click to generate again. I probably should have selected a little further away from her hand and her arm, because it keeps wanting to give me a fun little edge to my chair. I mean, it literally looks like it's melting. But this one's pretty good. The shadow could use some work. However, I have actually already done this and edited it completely. And this is the one that I wound up going with for this image. If I got rid of that layer and selected a little bit further away from her, but based on what AI already gave me, it did like a little drop here, so it's not catching this curve. It would probably do a better job for me. Let's see. And it did. So those options were better, but again, I already edited it. This was the first AI option it had given me, and it had done it perfect. Of course, while I'm doing it here, it wants to play tricks on me, but you get the point. This image, obviously this family, the prompt that I had given them was to walk towards me holding hands. This was my favorite one, just their smiles, the way that they're all looking at each other. I had only wished that I was just a little bit further back because the bottom of his shoe is real close to the edge. When I think about how my clients are going to print these out, or just the overall composition of this image, I said it would be so much better if they were a few feet back. So off to the side of my screen that you can't see, I am duplicating my background layer. So I have my background copy selected. I select the move tool, and I am just going to move them back a few feet. I like that better. Also, I am an all-inclusive photographer, so I never know how my clients are going to print these images. So I always like to give them enough space around the image that if they're going to print it to a different aspect ratio to the digital image, not too much gets cropped. So I like where they are right there. Off to the side of my screen, you can't see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the background. So I just have a transparent background. working on the background copy selected, I am going to just use my lasso tool to go around, making sure I don't get little guy's shoe there. Okay, so now if I were to click generate, it's going to change this area. So I have to go up to select and select the inverse. So you can see now it's selecting the entire outside. Click on generative fill, again, no prompt, and click to generate. And what it should do is it should fill in all this transparent area with the background. And boom, there it is. Again, you get 3 different versions that you can choose from. You can see how the background changes. You select the one that you like the best. This is the one that I went with, and this is my final image. I also used the remove tool to get this flare off of Dad. I'm going to show you the remove tool in the next one, but I'm going to show it to you here as well. So now I have my background copy selected. I have my remove tool. I'm just going over that, click enter, and it will get rid of it. You could use the lasso tool and generative fill as well, but the remove tool for an area like this is sufficient. And again, here is my final of that one. This is the most fun and the most steps. This is a beautiful senior that I photographed over the summer. Few things going on here. She had spent some time at the beach. Her tan was peeling a little, and you can see the difference in her skin tone there. She's got a little peeling here. She's got her tag from her dress was hanging out, and then the adjustments for her dress straps. I wanted to get rid of those as well. Also, her highlight appointment was another week out, but it was the most beautiful night, so that was the night that we chose. And I said, well, let me see if AI can give you some highlights. So I'm going to save that part for the end, so make sure you keep watching. For right now, we are going to work on this skin area. Again, I have the remove tool selected, and I am just going to brush over these areas. I have mine set not to remove after each stroke, so I can select multiple areas, and then I have to actually click enter to make them work. I will, for my final edit, be using some deblotch and skin smoothing to even these out, but I want to just get rid of this line here and kind of smooth that out before I go through and do any kind of skin smoothing. Just a couple more areas. That's going to be much better to work with than that harsh line there. Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to select my lasso tool. Again, I want to select the strap area going down quite a bit and outside of this buckle so that it knows I want it to do the strap and not just give me a new buckle. Again, no prompt, just click generate and we'll see what it gives me. Occasionally I'll give you something really weird, but if you select the right area, it'll do a really seamless job like that. Always gives you 3 options. I'm actually probably going to go with number 2 because you can see right here it gave me a little line and there it is gone. Now we also have the tag. So I'm selecting around the tag area to get rid of that. Let it do its thing. And then this little buckle area here, do its thing. There we go. Now for the fun part. Her highlights. First thing I want to do is get rid of the little flyaways up here. So again, selecting outside that area, no prompt. And those flyaways are gone. You can see it does change the background a little bit as you go through the options. So I'm actually going to stick with number 1. And then for her highlights, I want to select down into the highlighted area, avoid her part, come back up, doing a zigzag and going pretty deep because I want it to know. I want to select, she's got lots of varying shades of blonde here, and I want it to know I want it to give me the highlights. So you can see exactly where I selected. Again, no prompt. On a few of these for her, I had to do it a couple of times, changing my selections, but look at that. Another reason you want to stay away from the part, because it does tend to change the part a little bit. We can always run it again to get more options. It'll always give you the most recent options first. So number 1, 2, and 3 will be the one you just generated. 4, 5, and 6 will be the first ones. If I was editing this again, I would probably maybe choose that one, but I don't know. I got rid of her part quite a bit. But this was my final. Oh, this was my final. Move this box away. So that to that. So 1, 2, and 3. That's it. All right, I'm going to be sharing quite a bit over here again, and hope to see you all soon. Leave comments, ask questions. If there's anything that you want me to go through and showcase, you know, how I do things in Photoshop, especially using AI, the remove tool, just let me know.